Hi, my name is Andre Guzman, and this presentation is my final for psychology. There's a widespread amount of topics I could have chosen from, but the topic I chose to do was the effect of exercise on depression and anxiety. Just because of personally, I have a close connection to people that have these conditions, and it also is interesting just to see and take a look and review it and research it, as well talk to people firsthand. So depression in itself is listed said to be a common but serious mood disorder. Um, it's pretty severe if you can get deep in depression, anxiety as well. It's basically worrying how much you can get worked up and worried is what it is, and they're both pretty serious. A lot of people have it. It's very pretty common, and I don't know how many people don't have them. I know. I mean, you can it's common, and so people say, well, what can you do? People like, what can you do to kind of help each condition? And a lot of people take medication for it, but um, it's like any other drug. It has I mean, long term, it has a pretty harmful effect on your body. Short term, it'll do the job just like any other painkiller or anything. It helps short term, but long term, if you consistently take it over time, I mean, what will it do to you? And so it was interesting to research this because you can kind of see another outlet, another viable option of like what can you try out that'll help. And so that's exercise, and from going out, walking, running, going on hikes, as well even weightlifting. Um, these are all getting out and actually being outside. We're as humans, that's where we like, you know, we're used to being outside. I mean, that's how we evolved. We're outside. We're in the sunlight, and so as in our generation and how we live now, we're all trapped inside and in the house, and that builds up. There are side effects to being inside all day, being in the dark instead of being outside. Being exposed to natural sunlight and such. So, what really interested me about this topic was, you know, uh, how close of a connection I have to people either being depressed or having anxiety around me. And two of my best friends actually have. One is, is being diagnosed with depression, and the other anxiety. And so, just viewing them, and how it's played out. So as we were growing up, you could kind of tell before something was wrong with them. How they're always down, how they was always worked up, worried, or the littlest things. And as we got older and they got diagnosed, you kind of had an explanation for why. But all being athletes and playing sports throughout high school and college, especially in the high school world, we were always active, and we were outside, we're running every day, we're lifting, and so you could see it didn't affect them as bad because they were exercising, they were healthy, they were taking their mind off, being depressed or having anxiety. Was kind of an outlet. But as we all went to college and we kept playing sports and such, but eventually everyone they both came back home and went to like a local school in the Bay Area, and they stopped playing sports because of injuries, and they were trapped inside, not doing much, not exercising, putting on bad weight, inside in the dark playing video games all day. Just didn't care about much. You could see how much more each one's depression and then the other's anxiety kicked up, and got bad to a point where the guy that had depression, it got to such a high point where he needed to go see a therapist weekly, multiple times. And so just seeing that how bad it got, and as well anxiety. I mean, he went from being having being a lot calmer to being a lot worked up and worried and having anxiety attacks and such. So you could just see the effect of not exercising and being outside and taking your mind off it, how bad it got. And so they went on for I don't know how long, counting months, and they just fell deeper and deeper, and worse, horrible anxiety, horrible depression, and finally they started getting back into the groove and going outside and walking around, and eventually taking runs and then hikes and getting back in the weight room and lifting, getting your mind off things, and they started being themselves again, and they looked so much healthier mentally. Mentally, they talked a lot healthier. They looked a lot healthier physically, and I mean that in itself was kind of opened up my eyes of how much just exercising in itself can take your mind off these conditions and help out. And another thing is how does they're gonna ask how does exercise help depression physically? And through research I was reading, it like releases feel good brain chemicals, that may ease depression, like neurotransmitters, endorphins, and such. As well, it reduces immune system chemicals that can worsen depression, and as well, increasing body temperature that may have calming effects. So physically, there's a bunch of things that can happen to to help kind of suppress that, and even emotionally, benefits to exercising and getting out of these bad states is things like gaining confidence, meeting exercise goals or challenges, even small ones. It makes you feel better about your appearance. You want to get out more. For anxiety, it takes your minds off worries, which I mean helps tremendously. It's like a distraction. It helps socialize, get out, which also helps take your mind off it. So there's just a bunch of emotional and physical benefits to exercising, and it's a lot more safe than being amped up on medication for so long. Over the years, it's another viable option, and I had a great time researching it and going over the facts and talking to my friends about how bad they were and how much better they are just to exercise. So it was fun to do, and thank you.